ready to unleash your inner charmer. Today we're diving deep into first impressions with how to talk to anyone. Get ready for some serious aha moments.
It's amazing how this book takes those everyday interactions and breaks them down. It reveals the psychology behind making a killer first impression.
Totally. It's like learning the secret code to instant connection. And it all starts with those nonverbal cues. Like, have you ever noticed how some people just have this magnetic presence? They walk into a room and boom, all eyes are on them.
Absolutely. And often it's not about what they say, it's how they carry themselves. How to talk to anyone dives into this with a technique called the flooding smile.
Okay, tell me more about this flooding smile, because we all know a fake smile when we see one.
Right. It's not about that quick, plastered on grin. It's about taking a beat, making eye contact, and letting that smile spread naturally across your face. It's genuine warmth, like you're truly happy to be meeting this person.
It's like you're saying, I see you and I'm present. So much more powerful than a fleeting grin. But a smile can only get you so far, right? What about eye contact?
The eyes, the windows to the soul. The book talks about epoxy eyes, a technique for building intense connection.
Epoxy eyes. That sounds serious.
It is powerful. It's about maintaining that eye contact, even when the other person is speaking, creating that I'm hanging on your every word feeling. But a word of caution. Context is key. It's a technique best saved for those moments when you really want to build intimacy, and even then, you have to read the other person's cues.
Right, there's a fine line between captivating and creepy. So we've covered smiles and eye contact. What about the rest of our body language?
It's all connected, right? Our posture, our gestures, they all speak volumes. How to talk to anyone introduces this idea of hanging by your teeth.
Hanging by your teeth. Okay, now you have to explain this one.
Picture this, you're a circus performer, about to wow the crowd with a daring stunt. Think about your posture. Your chin is up, shoulders back, radiating confidence and strength, right? That's the energy this technique encourages you to bring to your everyday interactions.
I love that analogy. It's like instantly stepping into a more confident version of yourself. And what better way to boost your own confidence than by making the other person feel like $1,000,000? And that's where the big baby pivot comes in.
Ah, yes. This technique is all about making people feel seen and valued, like they're the only person in the room. Think about the way you interact with a baby. The undivided attention, the genuine warmth. The big baby pivot encourages us to bring that same energy to our adult interactions.
Because we could all use a little more of that focused attention. It's about being present, engaged in the moment. Speaking of being in sync, how to talk to anyone also introduces the concept of mirroring for connection, or as the book calls it, making a mood match.
This technique is all about subtly matching the energy and pace of the person you're with. Are they upbeat and energetic? Meet them there. Are they more reserved and thoughtful? Adjust your energy accordingly.
It's like you're finding that conversational rhythm, that unspoken harmony. We've covered so much already: smiles, eye contact, posture, mirroring. But before we move on, I have to ask about Hans's horse sense.
This one is fascinating. It's all about becoming a master of nonverbal communication, and it all starts with a horse named Clever Hans.
Hold on, a horse?
Yes. Now, this wasn't just any horse. Clever Hans could supposedly solve complex math problems.
Wait, a math whiz horse. You have my attention.
Right. It turns out Hans wasn't actually doing math, but he was incredibly perceptive. He was picking up on those subtle cues from his handler, a slight lean forward, a raised eyebrow, and using those cues to determine the correct answer.
Wow, so how do we mere mortals tap into our inner Clever Hans?
It's about developing that same level of awareness in our interactions. Paying attention to those nonverbal cues, a shift in posture, a change in facial expression. Those subtle signals can give you valuable insight into how someone is truly feeling and help you tailor your approach accordingly.
So it's like we're all sending out these nonverbal signals, but we're not always tuned in to receive them. Hans's horse sense is about becoming aware of those signals and using them to communicate more effectively. I love that.
It's about becoming a more attuned conversationalist, listening not just with our ears, but with our eyes as well.
So we've nailed those first impressions, but how do we keep the conversation flowing? I'll admit, small talk used to make me want to run for the hills, but how to talk to anyone really changed my perspective.
It's about reframing those initial exchanges, not about trying to impress right off the bat.
More about creating that comfortable space for the conversation to unfold.
Exactly. And remember, make a mood match. We talked about that earlier.
Right, mirroring their energy.
This book takes it even further. It's about matching their conversational tempo, too. Like you're trying to find that rhythm.
Okay, I like that. Like you're syncing up with them.
Exactly. And then to elevate the conversation beyond those initial pleasantries, that's where prosaic with passion comes in.
This one's a game changer, right? Finding the spark in any topic.
Think about it this way. What makes someone captivating, even when they're talking about something ordinary?
Their enthusiasm. They're genuinely interested in what they're talking about.
Exactly. And that energy, it's contagious. People are drawn to it.
So true. But sometimes you need a little something extra to get the conversation going.
A conversation starter. That's where what's its and who's at's come into play.
What's its, who's that's? Okay, you have to explain these.
So a what's it? Think of it like a visual cue, something that sparks curiosity, a unique piece of jewelry, a book with an intriguing title, anything that makes someone go, what's that?
Ah, so it's like giving people an excuse to start talking to you.
Precisely. And hozat. Let's say you're at a party and you see someone you'd like to talk to. Find the host or someone you both know, that's your who's at, and get some intel.
Ah, so instead of walking up to a complete stranger, you've got some common ground. Clever.
It takes the pressure off. And speaking of pressure, let's talk about that dreaded question. Where are you from?
The ultimate conversation killer.
Right. But how to talk to anyone has a solution for that too. Never the naked city.
Never the naked city. I'm intrigued.
It's simple, really. Instead of just stating your hometown, you give them a little something extra. A surprising fact, a historical tidbit. You know, something to make it interesting.
Ah, so instead of just saying, oh, I'm from Cleveland, I could say,
I'm from Cleveland, the birthplace of Superman. Boom. Suddenly you've sparked their curiosity.
love it. Okay, another great tip from the book. Swiveling the spotlight. This one's all about making the other person feel like they're the most interesting person in the room.
Because let's be honest, who doesn't love talking about themselves?
So true.
Ask engaging questions. Really listen to their answers. Become genuinely interested in their experiences. It's amazing how such a simple shift in focus can create a much deeper connection.
Absolutely. And if you really want to make someone feel heard, try parroting.
It sounds so basic, but it works wonders. Instead of just nodding along, you reflect back key phrases, key ideas. It shows you're really listening and encourages them to share more.
Oh, it's like you're saying, tell me more, I'm hooked.
Exactly. And finally, the encore technique. This one's about recognizing when someone has a story that deserves a bigger audience.
Like you have to tell me more about that trip to Italy.
And then you encourage them to share that story with others. Everyone here would love to hear about this. It's a simple gesture, but it makes people feel so valued.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground. Body language, conversation starters. Now let's talk about the words themselves.
It's amazing how a well-chosen phrase can make all the difference.
Right. It's like you've got all the right moves, but
They
that
say the wrong thing and...
it falls flat.
Exactly. And that's where how to talk to anyone really shines. It gives you this toolkit for crafting compelling conversations.
Like, are there any phrases we should avoid? You know, those conversational pitfalls.
Yeah, definitely. Cliches, for example.
Oh, absolutely. Like nails on a chalkboard.
Right. They're just so overused, so devoid of any real meaning.
It's like you're not even trying.
Yeah.
The book calls this one, Don't Touch a Cliche with a 10-Foot Pole.
Exactly. It's about being more original with your language. Using vivid imagery, unexpected metaphors, anything to make your words stand out.
So instead of saying, busy as a bee,
Yeah.
maybe try.
I'm spitting like a top today.
Yeah.
See? It's more evocative, more engaging.
I like it. So we're ditching the cliches. What else? Any other communication no-nos?
Let me think. Oh, here's one. Kill the quick me too. This one might feel counterintuitive at first.
Yeah, because we always want to find that common ground, right?
Right. But here's the thing. When you instantly jump in with me too, it can actually diminish the other person's experience.
Ah, so it's about letting them have their moment.
Exactly. Listen attentively, let them share their passion, and then, a little later, you can reveal your shared interest. It becomes a delightful discovery, rather than a forced attempt to connect.
Okay. I can see how that would make it more impactful. So it's not just about what we say, it's how we say it.
And who we're saying it to, which brings us to the power of communication. This one's all about shifting the focus from I to you.
So it's like less about me, and more about...
Them. Make them the star of the conversation. For instance, instead of saying, I loved that movie, try.
You have great taste in movies.
Bingo. It's a small shift, but it makes a world of difference. And while we're on the topic of making others feel good, Call a spade is another gem. It's about being direct, avoiding those wishy-washy phrases.
So no more beating around the bush.
Exactly. Use clear, concise language. It conveys confidence and trustworthiness. Of course, not every conversation is going to be smooth sailing, so how to talk to anyone also equips you with strategies for navigating those awkward moments.
Like those conversation landmines that make you want to disappear.
Exactly. Like when someone asks you a deeply personal question.
Ugh, the worst. What's the best way to handle those?
Well, the book talks about the broken record technique. You calmly reiterate your initial response using the exact same words and tone of voice.
So it's like you're politely but firmly setting a boundary.
Precisely. And if someone's bringing negative energy to the table, well, there's always the Teflon tongue.
Teflon tongue. Tell me more.
It's about letting those negative comments slide right off you. Don't engage. Don't let them steal your energy. It's like you have this invisible shield deflecting negativity.
Love it. I'm definitely adding that to my conversational arsenal. So we've learned about the flooding smile, epoxy eyes, so many amazing techniques to boost our charisma. It really all boils down to,
Being authentic.
yes, being present, being genuinely interested in the person you're talking to. And how to talk to anyone gives you the tools to do just that. It's about understanding the power of those nonverbal cues, mastering the art of conversation, and choosing your words carefully to create meaningful connections.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right?
Connection, building those genuine relationships that enrich our lives. So the next time you find yourself wanting to master a conversation, remember these tips. And don't forget to check out How to Talk to Anyone for even more communication gold.